Nobody's mock drafts will be accurate. Everybody's made mock drafts. I called my dad today. We were talking about life, and he pointed out that in stressful situations, people often make bad decisions because of arrogance or because of fear. So arrogance, that happens when an NFL general manager would say, I simply know better than everybody else. Or fear, like, oh crap, didn't expect that to happen, and they panic. I'm saying this now to give you something to pay attention to during the draft, because I believe that all of the top 4 quarterbacks should be drafted and out of the NFL draft by the 6th pick. I think all top 4 quarterbacks should be gone by the time we get to the 7th pick in the NFL draft. But statistically, people are stupid. They're arrogant or they're afraid. And I think it's going to be fun to see which quarterbacks are still available when the 7th pick rolls around. Dude, I'm sweating. I'm nervous. I don't want to be loud. I'm terrified. Here's what I believe we will see. Because, Mel Kiper is going to be wrong. Todd McShay is going to be wrong. Colin Cowherd's going to be wrong. Even me. We're all going to be wrong. Everybody will be wrong. Because NFL executives tonight at the NFL draft are going to make bad decisions because they are afraid or because they are arrogant. People get stupid when the pressure turns on. And I think we're going to see a lot of NFL teams make decisions that I normally wouldn't. And that's why everybody's mock drafts are going to be totally wrong. All right, that being said, I do have 2 mock drafts for you guys today. These are my final attempt at making a mock draft. Because there are 2 big dominoes that will decide what happens during the NFL draft. Because either the Browns are going to select Sam Darnold number 1 overall or Josh Allen. And who the Browns select number 1 overall will completely affect the rest of the NFL draft. Whoever the Browns draft is going to send a ripple effect across the rest of the draft. So this is my first mock draft. This is mock draft A, 1 of 2 today. This is the one I'm most confident in. I have a gut feeling. You call it whatever you want. I believe the Cleveland Browns are going to draft Josh Allen, the quarterback from Wyoming, number 1 overall. Look, John Dorsey's the decision maker in Cleveland, and he has a history of picking the big-armed quarterbacks with potential. He picked Patrick Mahomes out of Kansas City. That's just what John Dorsey does, and I can't explain it. I got a gut feeling. I believe the Cleveland Browns are going to go with Josh Allen, number 1 overall. So with the 2nd overall pick, because the Cleveland Browns will pass on Sam Darnold, I believe the Giants will pick Sam Darnold. This number 2 overall pick, the Giants are going to pick Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is the only quarterback the Giants would use a pick with a quarterback on. The only quarterback the Giants would pick is Sam Darnold. They do have Eli, but they're going to say, screw it. Even though Eli's 37 years old, Sam Darnold is just too good for us to pass up, and the Giants will pick Sam Darnold with the number 2 overall pick. So the New York Jets with the 3rd overall pick, the Jets will pick Baker Mayfield. I'm going to believe reports. I know there have been reports that say the Jets love Baker Mayfield. I'm going to believe them. They could be just pulling the wool over our eyes. Maybe the Jets are just tricking everybody. But I'm going to believe the reports. I believe the Jets actually love Baker Mayfield. I think the Jets pick Baker Mayfield number 3 overall. Even though I would pick Josh Rosen, I think the Jets are going to pick Baker Mayfield. So with the 4th overall pick, the Browns are going to select Bradley Chubb, the defensive end out of North Carolina State. The Browns are going to do this because they will have a chance at a legendary pass rush. They already have 2 running backs. Two defensive. They already have 2 running backs. They're not going to pick Saquon Barkley. They do have Myles Garrett. And they want to give Myles another guy to work with. Just imagine this. Imagine the pass rush being Myles Garrett on one side and Bradley Chubb on the other. That's scary. That's terrifying. And that's what I believe is going to happen. I'm nervous. It's late at night. I don't want to be loud. I believe with the 5th overall pick, the Broncos are going to draft Josh Rosen. I think the Broncos will be okay with who Josh Rosen is. They're comfortable with Josh Rosen because Josh Rosen is very similar to a young John Elway. I believe John Elway, the decision maker with the Broncos, looks at Josh Rosen and is not scared. He likes what Josh Rosen is about, and Josh Rosen is simply too good for the Broncos to pass up with the 5th overall pick. I believe the Broncos pick Josh Rosen. Now, for the 6th overall pick, this is where it gets really interesting. Because with all top 4 quarterbacks off the board, with Josh Rosen gone, Baker Mayfield's gone, Sam Darnold's gone, Josh Allen's off the board, I believe the Bills are not going to trade up. They have no reason to. They want a quarterback. All the quarterbacks the Bills could go after are now gone. So that is why the Colts, with the 6th overall pick, will select offensive lineman Quenton Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame. I think they're going to save Andrew Luck's career. They're making every effort they can. Because, look, Andrew Luck's getting destroyed. He needs help. He needs protection. The Indianapolis Colts are going to select Quenton Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame. So with the 7th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they don't need Saquon Barkley, but they're going to draft Saquon Barkley. He's too good for the Buccaneers to pass up. They don't need him, but that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to look at Saquon Barkley, say he is too talented for us to not use and draft him. So with the 8th overall pick, I have the Bears selecting Roquan Smith, the linebacker from Georgia. This was a toss-up. It was really close between Minkah Fitzpatrick or Roquan Smith. I believe the Bears would go Roquan Smith. Linebacker is a bigger need. They really wanted Quenton Nelson, but Quenton Nelson was gone to the Colts, so the Bears will draft Roquan Smith. And even with the recent Reuben Foster news, I believe with the 9th overall pick, the 49ers are going to draft Tremaine Edmonds, a linebacker from Virginia Tech. They could still use another interior linebacker, even if Reuben Foster's healthy. I believe that the 49ers will select Tremaine Edmonds. Now, the 10th overall pick is interesting because now in this scenario, Denzel Ward's available, Josh Jackson's available, and Minkah Fitzpatrick's available. The Raiders simply need to make their pass defense better. They need to get some defensive backs. They need to help their secondary. I believe the Raiders are going to draft Denzel Ward, but this one's really a toss-up. It could be any of the guys I just listed. So that's my first mock draft. 1 through 10. Again, I'll go through 1 through 10. I believe number 1, the Browns select Josh Allen. Number 2, the Giants select Sam Darnold. Number 3, the Jets select Baker Mayfield. With the 4th overall pick, the Browns select Bradley Chubb. The 5th overall pick, the Broncos select Josh Rosen. The 6th overall pick, the Colts select Quenton Nelson. 7th pick, Saquon Barkley to the Buccaneers. The Bears are going to draft Roquan Smith, the linebacker from Georgia. With the 8th overall pick, the 9th overall pick, Tremaine Edmonds. And with the 10th overall pick, I believe the Raiders will draft Denzel Ward. So what will change if the Browns do select Sam Darnold with the number 1 overall pick? Because Sam Darnold is the biggest domino to fall. Sam Darnold affects everything, how everything works. If the Browns select Sam Darnold with the number 1 overall pick, here's what will happen. Because it does change everything. So number 1, obviously the Browns select Sam Darnold. This is what I would do, but my gut tells me that the Browns are going to instead choose Josh Allen. I would pick Sam Darnold, but I just have a feeling, I believe the Browns will select Josh Allen rather than Sam Darnold. But in this situation, the Browns do select Sam Darnold. So with Darnold gone, with the number 2 overall pick, the Giants will pick Saquon Barkley. They're going to commit to Eli Manning. They would then have Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, a new left tackle, a new head coach who's offensive-oriented, and there would be no excuse for Eli Manning to not be successful. Now, with the 3rd overall pick, I still believe that the Jets love Baker Mayfield. The Jets will commit to Baker Mayfield. I would pick Josh Rosen, but I believe reports. I think the Jets actually legitimately love Baker Mayfield. I don't quite understand it, but that's how they feel. So with the 4th overall pick, again, I think the Browns still select Bradley Chubb. I don't see a world where the Browns don't select Bradley Chubb with the 4th overall pick in both scenarios. With the 5th overall pick, the Broncos are going to select Josh Rosen. They like him. He's too good to pass up. Now, with the 6th overall pick, the Colts are actually going to trade down because Josh Allen is still on the board. Josh Allen is still available. I believe the Bills are going to trade up, go get a franchise quarterback, and draft Josh Allen. So with the 7th overall pick, the Buccaneers are going to select Minkah Fitzpatrick. The thing with the Buccaneers is the Buccaneers just need more good football players, and that's exactly what Minkah Fitzpatrick is. Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best football player left on the list. I think that the Buccaneers would draft Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, the Bears are going to draft Quentin Nelson. They're going to get Mitch Trubisky, an offensive lineman, to help him. They're trying to build around Mitch Trubisky. Matt Nagy's a new head coach for the Bears. He is committed. He is all in on Mitch Trubisky. I believe the Bears will draft Quentin Nelson. With the 9th overall pick, the 49ers, I still believe they pick Tremaine Edmonds. And with the Raiders, their whole mission in this draft, the Raiders the first pick, in round 1, the Raiders are going to fix their secondary. No matter whether they trade down, trade up, regardless, the Raiders are going to pick a defensive back to make their secondary better. They need to have a better pass defense. I believe the Raiders will select Denzel Ward, but it's really a toss-up. The Raiders could also select Josh Jackson. Either one, the Raiders are going to make their secondary better. They're going to upgrade their secondary. So that's my 2 takes of a mock draft. If Josh Allen goes number 1, it affects a whole lot down below. And if Sam Darnold is picked number 1 overall, that would change everything, and there'd be a whole other domino effect. Now, there are some interesting things to watch for tonight in the NFL draft. The first most interesting thing is this. Which quarterback will slide out of the top 6 picks? Look, I think it's going to happen. I don't see a world. I don't know why it would happen, but people are dumb. People make mistakes. People are arrogant, or they operate out of fear. I believe one of the top 4 quarterbacks is going to slide down to the 7th pick and beyond. One of the quarterbacks is going to fall in the NFL draft. The question is, which one? That's a good, huge storyline for you to pay attention to tonight as you're monitoring the draft. And another interesting question is, which quarterbacks will go 5th and 6th? So the top 4 quarterbacks are very clear. Top 4 quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, and Sam Darnold. But the really interesting question is, who does the NFL view as the 5th and 6th quarterbacks in this draft? I believe it would be Lamar Jackson and Luke Falk, but I don't think a lot of other people agree with me on that, so I'm very curious to see what happens. In fact, another interesting question is, will 6 quarterbacks even be picked in the first round? Remember, tonight on Thursday, we're only going to see the first 32 picks. We're only going to see the first round. So it's very possible we only see 4, probably 5 quarterbacks selected, but maybe the guy from Oklahoma State gets drafted. I don't know. We're going to wait and see. Another interesting thought is that, what are the Colts going to do? The Colts need to build an offensive line, but the Colts also could trade down, or they could draft Quentin Nelson. Those are, I think, the 3 options the Colts have. And I'm really, really curious to see what they do. I do believe this. If a quarterback is available to them at the 6th overall pick, they're going to trade down. The Bills are going to be offering a lot. The Bills, the Cardinals, and maybe even the Dolphins are going to be vying for that draft pick. And I think the Colts are most likely going to trade down because people are dumb. There's no way. One of the quarterbacks has to slide. I would not do that. In my perfect world, none of the quarterbacks would slide, but that's what's going to happen. And I'm just curious, when do the Bills trade up? The Bills and the Cardinals both need quarterbacks. They have no plan this year at quarterback, and they don't have draft picks that look like they have a chance to pick a quarterback. So I'm going to be very interested in when the Cardinals and or the Bills trade up to go get a quarterback. Here's what I think is also very interesting. I think the 49ers, if a quarterback slides down to their position with the 9th overall pick, I think the 49ers are a big potential team to trade down. The Bills could leapfrog the Miami Dolphins and go to the 9th overall pick to get a quarterback. That's very curious. That's a situation to monitor. Because the 49ers could trade down and lose nothing. There's a whole flurry of players that, because they don't need a quarterback, there are a lot of players the 49ers could select between the 9th and the 12th pick. There's really not that big of a difference. I think the 49ers are big players that could trade down in the NFL draft. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. You can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, also on Google Play. Thank you so much. If you really want to help me grow Strong Opinion Sports, though, tell your friends about the show on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Share this with your friends. Tell the world about Strong Opinion Sports. Subscribe and help me grow by telling your friends about this podcast. Thank you so much.